Hi, how are you, Courtney?
I'm wonderful. I'm so happy to be talking to you both. I was on your holiday product preview, which was
I
super cute.
recall. Yes,
Lots of new awesome
yes.
product, and we'll get into that. But I was really just so charmed by the two of you. And I wanted to know more about you two. I wanted to know the origin story of your partnership. And from each of you, I wanted to know the moment that you knew working in design and decor was for you.
First, I want to say that what you see is what you get. We really are dear friends, kind of probably a little bit more, sometimes brother and sister. He knows everything about me. When you travel with someone for 11 years and you spend more time with them than anybody really in your world, in your life, you get to know them. And especially during COVID, we were the only ones in the office because we kept coming to work, because what else are we going to do, I'll start. It'll roll into how I met Gary, but I started at Williams Sonoma, and I was there for 9 years. I started with Chambers Catalog, and I worked very closely, very lucky, with Chuck Williams as he was starting this catalog. And I was like, oh, this brand. And I said, I want to do that. And it really was building a brand, from what are we going to name it to how are we going to launch it. And it was only going to be in a catalog, because at that time, that's what you did. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful. And I was at a show and I actually met Gary. So I have known him since the mid 80s. So it was great. And he was one of my vendors. And I think what it was, his booth was so fabulous. I wanted to buy something for Chambers. And he had these crazy little rolling shower curtain rings. And I was like, oh, perfect. We sell shower curtains. And Gary, I think we just kind of got to be really good friends from that, as my one fun vendor. But we stayed in touch, which was great. And he called me, I guess 9 years later, and said, hey, I'm at the Gap, at Banana Republic and the whole Gap Inc. And I'm going to start, they want me to start Williams Banana Home. Do you want to do it with me? And I was like, I sure, what an opportunity to work with him and do something different. And even though I was probably I was young, and I was like, oh God, what am I doing? But it was wonderful. And it was a great 5 years together. And that's when we really built our simpatico. I think our joining of our taste and our flavors and what we love, and learning from each other, and learning what's the product, and what's the silhouette, and how do we, I don't know if you remember, you were around when Banana Home first launched, and it was big white beautiful Italian serveware. It was very similar to what we're doing, but with maybe a little more color and a little more trend edge, because we were in the middle of their stores. Anyway, that was great fun for 5 years. And then they wanted to move us to New York, and neither of us wanted to. So Gary went back, and he'll tell you what he started doing is, starting his own business again. And I went back to Williams Sonoma and started, they were starting Williams Sonoma Home. And so I worked there for several years and learned a lot about textiles and upholstery and furniture, but I always loved tabletop, and I was always something that I just loved to entertain. I loved to set my table. And when they had an opening for a head of design for Williams Sonoma tabletop, I went right over. And it was wonderful. But that was probably the point when I thought I need to do my own thing, because prior to that, it was always this entrepreneurial, starting new businesses. You can do kind of what you want to do. And working for Williams Sonoma was like, I tell people, it was like moving the Titanic and trying to hang a U. Couldn't do it. And so I called Gary in January of 2011, and it was such a pivotal moment in my life. It really was. And I heard the conversation. I think I was in tears, because I said, I really want to get out. I want to do my own thing. Please come have a store with me, because I knew I didn't want to do it by myself. And I really knew that he had to be my business partner in this, and my partner. And he tells me he has to think about it. And I was like, oh, no, you're not thinking about it. I'll give you a day. And I think I called everyone I knew to call him, to tell him what a great idea it was. And anyway, he did think about it, and he said yes. And
Okay, can I interject while I have connection here?
please,
So
yeah.
when I was at Gap Inc. and Mickey and Gene Jackson was the president of Banana, asked if I would do Banana Home. I knew I could art direct it, but I needed someone who was an expert. So and I've always I called two people to talk to. I talked to Marta Benson, who, I don't know if you know who Marta is, but she's what is she, Mo? Is she the president of William
Now she's the
Pottery Barn? Or?
CEO of Pottery Barn because they have presidents underneath
Yeah.
them. Anyway, whatever.
Marta's an old friend, and I've known her for years from Smith and Hawkins, and I liked her persona of who she is, and I still do. And I knew Monel, and I the same thing. I like Monel's energy and her persona. And so I talked to Marta, and I realized that Marta needed to do something else. And then I talked to Monel and Mickey Drexler, who was my mentor and my direct boss. He said, well, you know, if you bring in Monel, we can't screw around with it. We have to be very direct, and we have to overpay her to get her. And he said, I'm on the board of Williams-Sonoma, and I can't be in a conflict. So this is perfect because I want to get off the board. So let's do this, and I can get off the board, and we'll get Monel here. So Mo came to the meeting. I knew I was going to hire her, and I said, her interview, and I know Mo cringes every time I say this to her.
I do. I'm going to kill you right now. You know this is being recorded, Gary, and Courtney, please don't.
That's all right. The interview, I said, Mo, can you do the Macarena? And she did the entire number for me in front of my face in the office, and I said, you're hired. And so basically, I knew that we would work beautifully together. I knew that our styles would mesh, and it was just a matter of, you're in the office, we want you to come here, and we got to be very black and white about this, working around Mickey and Howard and the Fishers and, you know, those two giant companies to make this happen. And we did. So then years later, we did it for 5 years. We loved it, loved doing Banana Home. It was, you know, I did Gap Scents and all the fragrances for all the 3 brands, and worked on building the concept of Gap Body. And but this is what my true passion was home. It's just, home is everything to me. And be it my personal home or envisioning homes for other people, or, you know, just, I love that landscape. And so it was kind of a dream come true to have this opportunity and have the money behind us with Gap Inc. to build this brand. And so when it came to an end, Mo and I promised each other, Mo maybe more vocal about it than I, that one day we would do our own company, and it would be a home concept. And so when she came to me X number of years later and said, I've reached my limit with corporate life and I want to do my own business. And I honestly was in a situation of taking on a large project with a company on scenting big environments like arenas and Las Vegas casinos and hotels and airports. And it was such a big project that I couldn't imagine taking on a smaller project and giving it the time. But it really was where my passion was. And so after a couple of days and a lot of phone calls from a lot of mutual friends, I gave in and said, yes, I'll do it. So that's my side of the story. It's similar.
I hear so much passion when you both talk about what you do and when you talk about working with each other. What's the origin of that passion? Where did that come from?
I think it's truth. It's, you know, we do what we love, and much of what we bring into our brand is from our personal archives of things that we've collected over the years, things that we just covet, love. Mo's a collector. She collects a lot of vintage pieces, kind of taught me how to fall in love with certain pieces that I bring into my own personal lifestyle. We both love entertaining and do it a lot, and love planning a dinner and making a beautiful place setting in the dining room, out on a terrace, on the lawn, wherever it is, creating an atmosphere in our environments for that evening. It's a real passion. How you fold a napkin, how you mix materials together, how it isn't all perfectly matched and blended, but it's really an eclectic mix that it really shows your personality and with some surprise and awe, and making sure the lighting is right, the music is right, the scent in the air is right. It's a combination of everything, and that's what our store is. It's, you know, through Mickey Drexler, who I love, and I know Mo does too, and he's one of my dearest people I hold in my heart and my life. And you know, he always said retail is theater. And you know, we want people to walk. I was in our store yesterday in Santa Barbara, and my brother had just died
Oh, I'm
6
so
weeks
sorry.
ago or 5 weeks ago. Thank you. And you know, I've been coming down from that and kind of away from the business and dealing with his house and property and all that stuff. And I had the last of his stuff taken away yesterday at 1:30, and we got in the car and we went to the store to meet Robert, our visual person. And I walked in the store and I was in awe. First of all, the store was beautiful. He had mixed it up. The tables had been changed. The whole atmosphere of the store had changed. The two people in the store were so excited. It smelled like $1,000,000. There were customers in the store. Friends were popping by. You know, whenever you go into one of our stores, the energy changes. When Mo and I walk into our store, the energy changes in the room and starting around us, and we get excited. We start talking out loud, and we have customers and employees and just changing ideas and thinking real fast. And hey, if you like that, you're gonna like this. What is this? Can you believe that?
We love spending time in the stores. We started off that way, and that was the greatest thing. And it's a luxury. And we both say, get back in the store again. But Gary was right. We do use our products. Both of us use them. We use them every day, and grew up that way. I grew up with a cloth napkin, and I came from a family that served abundant portions, and so I love the big platters. And you've got to have enough. And I look at these. You know, someone will say, oh, I'm serving vegetables in this bowl. And I was like, for you, you know, it's got to be a big bowl and a big platter. And so I think it's inherent. And then once you get bitten by that bug of your home, and to Gary's point, we love our homes, and people who love their homes, I think, will always be a success if they're in this industry, because you have to love your home, love to serve, love to entertain, like Gary said, set the table and create the mood. And I think it's just in your blood, it's in your soul.
And you touched on this a little bit already. Authenticity is a real core tenet of the Hudson Grace brand. Can you elaborate a little bit on what authenticity means to you, and where do you source authentic inspiration?
Authenticity, listen, it's a word we use all the time now. It's truth.
Yeah.
It's truth. Authenticity is it's your passion, it's your heart, it's your energy, it's your vision. It's a surprise. To me, that's authenticity. It's of origin too.
Exactly. And I think that, you know, I learned that from Chuck. He said, you know, if there was the rooster picture and someone wanted to change the pattern on it, and he was like, this has been around at the Hessler Hotel for how many years? It's the real deal. And I think Gary and I both decided that when we sourced, we would go to the factory. We learned so much and a lot of it's from Italy, most of our products from Europe, because they still have factories, they still have production, they still have their great grandfather's tureen that he designed. Now, granted, a lot of them are heavily decaled and painted, and we wanted everything pure and white and simple, because to Gary's point, its simplicity is truth, and that's the most beautiful thing. But it's got to be the real deal. It really does.
We sell a flatware from 1932, a Gioponti flatware. 1932. It's 90 years old, and it is as modern today as it was back then. And it's stunning and it's beautiful. It's one of our best selling flatwares still today. So,
Gary, what did you used to say about longevity, their simplicity? You had a wonderful quote.
In simplicity, there is longevity.
Mm.
And
Isn't that true? And I
that's
love
true.
that. And that's kind of our ethos, you know.
Mies van der Rohe says, less is more. And that's true. But I think that's almost become, and it's true. It's not tried. It's true. It's been said too many times, but I think it's more poetic to say in simplicity, there is longevity.
So ultimately, Hudson Grace got acquired by Crate and Barrel. Was that always part of the plan for you guys, or did that unfold naturally?
Well, on day one, we opened the store. I'm not going to name names, but we had this little hotshot guy coming through the store, bouncing off walls, saying, "How many stores are you?"
One, you know, and he was blown away how branded we were. We had, our name was on it. He was buttoned up, and we were like, okay.
No, we know how to brand, and so we knew that we wanted to build something bigger than one store, and we knew that we wanted to find the right partnership. And of all the big companies out there, we always liked the kindness, because I grew up with Crate and Barrel in Chicago and knew the Barbara Turf and Gordon Siegel, who really ran it and created it. And I love them both, and I admire them both, and I learned so much from them. And I knew it was a kind company. And that was important to us because we come from big retail. We know what that machine can do to you and what we've seen it do to others. And we didn't want that. So it had to be the right partnership. And we talked to many people, and hedge fund people that wanted to put us on steroids and blow us up and sell us off in 3 years. And that
we would get back in the car and look at each other and be like, oh, no, there is no way. There's no way. And on our first meeting with them, it was like, okay, we can do this. This could be good, and the timing was really perfect for a myriad of reasons. But it was right before COVID, and little did we know COVID was going to happen. So that was kind of a nice thing. So
wow, it worked out all right for you guys.
It's been and they've been wonderful. It's been a wonderful partnership, and we made it very clear, and they of what we needed from them, and how they're very loyal and very respectful. Like it should be. It's a good thing.
So you also have a real commitment to sustainability and community engagement. A lot of people throw those around as buzzwords. Can you tell me what that looked like in practice for you guys?
Well, I think that we look at each store as an individual, and even we don't look at it as one big company. Each store has its own personality. Each, our choice of the communities that we put our stores in, they're affluent, neighborhoods. There's no question. I mean, Sag Harbor, Brentwood, Presidio Heights, Palo Alto. I mean, they're all very affluent neighborhoods, but that's who our customer is. We didn't want to be a white box, and each community has its own events and charities and special areas where they are, giving back and participating in the community. And we let our managers basically own that and work with the communities.
Important that we're in the neighborhoods. It's really important that we are part of the community and want to ingratiate ourselves in the community. And it's been really successful. It's been good. And as far as sustainability, it's a big deal for Crate. The company that owns Crate, really, I'm amazed of how strongly they feel about it. And we do it because we buy so much from factories and European product. In some cases, like all of our wood is sustainable wood. It's reclaimed hardwoods, from Europe. So more and more, we're going to do it with our cottons and our linens and things like that, and try to see how we can help the sad planet.
Yeah.
I just heard something on a podcast that Isaac Mizrahi was interviewing someone, and they were talking about changing the world. And I thought this was really beautiful. She said, in order to change the world, you have to change yourself. And I thought, oh my God, that is as simple as that. It sounds great. We're going to be sustainable. We're going to do everything because we're going to change the world. Basically, that's bullshit. That's just words. But in order to change the world, we individually have to change ourselves. And I think that is a great mindset, and that could move the needle. And it's how we live our personal lives and how we think when we make a purchase and how we think when we throw something away and how we live our daily lives. It'd be much more thoughtful. Having spent the last 5 weeks clearing out my brother's house, who is a bit of a collector, putting it mildly, I just see the excessiveness that is shocking to me. And now I think about everything I buy. I will think about everything I buy and how I'm going to recycle this merchandise and product that I have in my life, and not buy foolishly or unnecessarily, but buy more with a much more sincere mindset.
That might be harder for me to do than you. I'm a shopper. Got a problem.
So the holidays are coming up, which is a huge time for Hudson Grace, of course. I've already gotten a sneak peek of the collection. Can you tell our audience now about some of your favorite pieces from the new holiday collections?
Oh, I have a favorite.
Okay, go for it. And then
I think this chocolate teddy bear is the most beautiful thing I've seen in years.
The chocolate teddy bear is so sweet.
He is.
Oh my God. I mean,
and he's large. He's
this
big.
chocolate teddy bear, I could walk into anyone's home as a host gift and give this $80. It's $80 retail, which is a magic price point. I mean, it's just beautiful. And anyone would be delighted to have it. So that is something I think I love items. It's an item.
I love the number plates. Yeah, I love the number plates. In fact, a friend of mine got them, and a woman here, and we had a party at her house, and everyone got the number, and we got the number of how many years we were at Hudson Grace. So Gary and I both had ones, and it was so much fun. But I think that is such a fun way to entertain, especially the holidays are coming. And you can just set a wonderful table around them. They can be used for desserts or salads or what have you.
Or if you're doing courses, first course, second course.
Totally.
Oh, I love that. That's fun. You can do all kinds of things with it. I was in our store and Robert set the table. Each place setting had a different number, and it was just wonderful yesterday.
Yeah, they're
done in a Halloween type theme, autumn theme. The other thing I love is we're launching a new candle. We launched a candle, 2 candles this year. I'm a fragrance designer by trade, and we did the sweet basil, which is our kitchen candle, which the store smells amazing.
It's amazing. Gary, was our number one item. It's our number one top selling candle. Yeah. It's amazing.
Then on October 1st, we're launching a new fragrance called Aspen. And it's a dear friend helped me name that candle and inspired me to go that direction, because these fragrances sometimes take a year to design. And so when we named it Aspen, my whole mindset changed about this fragrance. And it's rich as aspen is rich, and it's luxurious, and it's deep, and it's all these beautiful notes from the forest. And it was designed to complement one of our best-selling candles, which is called Winter. And so I love the fact that we have this candle we're launching in October for fall, and it's suddenly, September's an iffy month because it could be hot, it could be a little cool, it could be perfect, it could be, the weather is all over the place. But October, there's a definite change in the air. And so with Aspen, you've got this beautiful, rich scent that fills the house, and it says, hey, it's fall, it's a new season, it's really here. And then as winter comes along, as holiday comes along, we start burning winter, and the 2 candles together, Aspen and Winter, the combination is breathtaking. So very excited about that. And that would be an item that I believe in for this holiday as well.
What goes into fragrance design that makes it take a year?
Well, it's a lot of testing. It's very personal for me. And, when I went into designing fragrance at this point in my life, I wasn't going to just do another vanilla or another fake ocean note or, crappy cheap $18 a pound oil. I went to the best, and I work with two specific perfumers, chemists. That one is the chemist for Tom Ford, so he works at a very high level, a very rich level. And then I worked with a wonderful French perfumer that I did some of my best work with 30 years ago when I did all the Banana Republic fragrances. And he is a poet. And I mean, sometimes I say, okay,
And you are
Jean-Claude, I don't
too.
need any more words. I got it. But, you know, the notes are, it's not about what it costs. It's about, is it the best? And what Mo taught me about cooking, I put into fragrance. It's the fewer the ingredients, the better it is. So it's few notes, beautifully blended, beautifully balanced. And it's like when you're designing music and you have a keyboard and you raise the percussion and you lower the violins and you need a little bit of bass in here. It's constantly moving those notes up and down until you find that perfect balance, and you walk into the room and you fall to your knees because you think it is beautiful and you love it and you want it to wrap around you. And that's when a fragrance is done. And it is done when it's done. And it's nice to have for someone to say, well, you've got a calendar and you've got to have it launched on this date. And I always try and do it. But it's like having a baby. It isn't easy, but when it finally is done, you're very happy.
Done. Yeah.
You mentioned retail is theater, which I think is so beautiful. What advice would you have to other retailers to make their space more theatrical?
Tell you, it's really simple. Staff up.
Yeah.
Staff up.
It's the greeting, it's the warm welcome.
Walking into a store and I only see someone at the cash wrap and no one nowhere else. Because I need help. I need direction. I need to find something. I'm going to have a few questions. I need help. And I am blown away by these companies having no one working in the store.
Even though they don't greet, they might have employees, but they don't say hello. And we always talk about get out behind the counter, greet everybody, say hello. Even if it's someone doesn't want to talk or doesn't want help, just be there for them, and it's really, really important.
It's about having a good time.
Yeah, it's a party.
We always tell our
party.
people, have a good time. Enjoy your customers. Get out from behind the register, walk around, talk, put the product in their hand, let them feel the weight. It's like when you're buying a car and you close that door, the sound of that door closing, the weight of that door in your hand. Put the product in their hand, let them touch it, let them feel it. That when it goes in their hand, suddenly it's theirs. They own it. It's in their life.
We always say we want people to walk in and be as welcoming as you do when you have people walk into your house.
Graciousness, and it's a big difference. And we talk about it weekly. As we talk about when we hand you our bag, I was in two things. I was in Prada years ago. I don't buy Prada rarely, but I was buying a pair of pants. I was picking them up from being hemmed or something. And I walked in this beautiful store on Fifth Avenue and all the attractive employees wearing Prada in this gorgeous environment. And I realized everyone in the store, beautiful, young, fresh, well-dressed people, they were all cleaning and preening the store. And I went, wow, these people are making this environment gorgeous for me. I love that. The experience you have as a customer, be it the first customer in the morning when the store opens or the last one 10 minutes after closing time, should be the same experience, and the store should feel as beautiful and fresh for the first one as it does for the last person. And then lastly, the bag and how we put the product in the bag, and with the use of our tissue and how we tie the ribbon, and we step out from behind the counter and hand that bag to that customer with total sincerity, look them in the eyes and say, thank you.
thank you so much. That's all the questions on my end. In closing, is there anything we didn't touch on that you think is super important to get out into the world?
No, we're just so appreciative of your support. We're still a small brand, and Gary and I are still around as the founders. It's really important that we have our hands in every pot. And we really are, as Gary said once, we're a small brand with big dreams. And we've got a lot more to go. We're excited about some of the growth and the new categories we might be getting into. And it's going to be great.
But we want to hold on to that intimacy.
Absolutely.
Because it's
Small
important.
brand.
So small,
Mhm.
intimate. We want it to be an intimate experience.
That's a hard thing to do as you expand.
It is.
Very.
Yes, it is. But we're keeping it. We're holding on tight. It'll happen.
Thanks to both of you for being such awesome leaders in that. That's
Thank you.
amazing. We need more people like you.
Thank you. Nice
Thank
to
you
meet
so
you.
much.